Moving the camera too much.
No, you good.
Oh, that's how it say recording?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Yo, no funny. These bloopers is going to be hilarious. Like, I already could see it now. Like, I can see it now. What happened? Where's she at?
Touche.
Hi, guys. You can't hear us?
Hello?
I can't. No, I can hear you, Gabby. I just put my headphones in because. That's hot. I really like your hair. Can she hear me? No.
It says she's connecting to audio. Wait, did not.
Hold on.
How are you guys doing? Well, I don't know if you're recording, so that's why.
Got you.
No, he's recorded. It's all right. Bloopers is gonna be lit. Like
do I start now?
It's gonna be fun. Oh, you know what? Pat's birthday was the other day. It was Wednesday.
Oh, how
I don't know if he posted.
birthday.
He's good. He moved back over here by me.
Oh,
he had moved somewhere else.
You guys?
Yeah, he moved on Sufton somewhere. But no, he didn't. We didn't do anything yet because he was still moving in or whatever.
Oh, he's like moving in by himself.
Oh, I don't know. I didn't ask. I don't know. We didn't get into that conversation. Every time I call him on FaceTime, he be dubbing me. So I'd be like, cool.
You be dubbing your FaceTime.
You don't even call me on FaceTime.
No, I do.
I answer you on FaceTime.
I called you at 7 a.m. like 2 weeks ago. You didn't even answer.
All right, who is up at 7 a.m? I'm not.
That is my Zen time.
That's your what time?
My Zen time.
That's too much. 7 o'clock is a little bit.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, how are you? I really like your hair.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, so we're gonna do this how we usually do our intro. So it will be me and Shamar will introduce ourselves, and then you guys are gonna introduce yourselves, and then I'm gonna be like, it's the need to know. So basically, I'm gonna explain the topic. So we are doing mental health, but we're actually gonna talk about how we're gonna talk about how Black Lives Matter actually plays hand in hand with that as well, and how it affects us as a community and personally. So I feel because we think that it plays a part. So, are you guys ready? Yeah? Okay. Ready? I'm about to do, okay. Hi, guys. I'm Ree.
I'm Mar.
I'm Tusha.
Oh, I'm Gabby.
I'm so weak. Okay. It's okay. We're going to still keep it like that. And this is the need to know. So, guys, today this is our first episode for our IGTV series preseason. We're going into season 8 in August, so I'm very excited about that. So today we're gonna start with mental health. That is one of I would think it's like 17 topics we have, but it's one of those that we're gonna pick from season 1 to 7. So to start, since we're gonna talk about Black Lives Matter as well, how do you guys feel that plays a part in just plays a part right now? Like, what is your opinions about it? Anybody can start.
In regards to the protests that are going on right now, I feel like this is the most involved as a community we've been. Usually we have our Black Lives Matter issues that pop up, like Eric Garner and Trayvon Martin, and we do speak out, but unfortunately those protests are short-lived. Like, we'll go out for maybe 2-3 days shouting Black Lives Matter, and then we go on about our day and we never hear about it again. But I feel like with this specific instance, it's been 2 weeks of protests, and and the entire United States got involved. Also, I heard 18 countries out of the US got involved, and that's major. I feel like this is a really major turning point, and the fact that we're sitting here experiencing it is amazing. I think so.
Yeah.
I definitely agree. I think Barack Obama like had tweeted something about like how he believes in like our young people so much because look what we're doing. Like we're like the amount of like legislation that has been passed because of all this continuing
Yeah.
testing in the past couple of weeks is amazing. Like I think it's like amazing, and then it's unfortunate that the reason that so many people are involved is because so many people are out of work, but at the same time there's so much good that's coming out of it. We are like, this is showing that if we do continue to peacefully protest and rally and speak out, our voices do matter, and what Barack Obama is saying is correct. We have the ability to change the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is unfortunate that, someone had to pass away again for us to like kind of make the movement happen. But the fact that, this era kind of reminds me of like the Million Man March with Martin Luther King, where how everybody got involved and like because of it, like segregation got disabled pretty much. Just the fact that, so many of us are like walking out on the streets, donating, giving a voice to it. Just, not only is it, I don't want to say it's affecting our mental health like negatively or positively, but more so is giving us a chance to, express what we've been feeling for the past like 400 plus years. And the fact that now it's like being heard on a bigger tone. And also the fact that, prior to our generation, their generation didn't really have social media to express what we're feeling. So now that we have that platform to push it to different countries and have it spread around so fast, it's not only benefiting us, but it's making, Congress and legislation to be forced to do something about it, as opposed to just, avoiding it or just saying, okay, yeah, we hear you. And then 2 days later, nothing happens. So.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you guys think that, like what you said, Gabby, about Barack Obama telling us that as young people, like we have the ability to make change, which is something that he said throughout, like, his time in through his time like as president. He talked about, young people and always encouraged us to be like better and to go to do, a lot of the things that we set our mind to do. So how do you think that, how do you guys feel about us being that key change right now?
I definitely agree with him because you can see it even in the political races that are coming up. You can see like this one person I just actually spoke to this morning.
Mm-hmm.
He's 23 years old and he's running for the New York State Assembly. We have like some of the youngest candidates ever now, like running for public office, trying to make these changes. Like I think there's actually this coalition called the Brand New Congress. They want like to start fresh from, because like all the old heads with the old way of thinking, they don't believe in it at all, which is something I personally agree with too. I do think that what he's saying is true. Like we're the future. You see it in uh, like younger children as well. Like they're starting their own like Black Lives Matter marches. I don't know if you guys see those on social media. Like change is coming, and I feel really good about it.
And I feel like I could personally say, when I was much younger, I was never somebody who was in politics at all. I wasn't into politics, into history. I knew the basic history that they taught us in school, but a little before, I want to say Eric Garner, I started digging deep into history and learning about Black history. Like I knew Thurgood Marshall, I knew Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, but I started digging into like Stokely Carmichael, Nikki Giovanni, and learning the principles of the civil rights movement. And this, I believe, these protests are actually going to get younger kids more involved and more into learning about their history. But not only that, we do have a lot of parents who just let the school educate us. And I think this is putting us in a position where when we as parents start teaching our kids about history, we can say, hey, we were involved in the protest of 2020, so they know that not only it wasn't that long ago, but there's more to history than just Martin Luther King and Rosa Parks and the basic Harriet Tubmans, because I feel like that's a very superficial history. And as you dig deeper, you start to get a better sense of pride and a better sense of the results that are actually coming out of these marches. And I think it's amazing. It's revolutionary. I believe so.
Yeah, I agree. Especially with, how parents are kind of letting their kids, letting the schools educate us as opposed to like learning about our own culture. Especially when Barack Obama says that we're the, generation to make change. I agree mainly on the point that, our parents and, their ancestors were kind of not necessarily from this country. And even when they came through, it's like they didn't have the resources to learn about what's going on. And so a lot of the protests that they would do like in 1960s and above and lower too, were based on the fact that they were tired of how they're being treated physically and mentally, whereas us, it's like now we have the chance to educate ourselves. We have social media, we have phones, we have computers, where whenever we want to we could just learn. Or we have so many young people who are like, they're basically being tired of being treated by racism or police brutality or whatnot and what forth. And to me, I feel like we're not only tired of it, but it's like we're tired of seeing our parents go through it, we're tired of seeing our ancestors go through it, and it's like enough is enough in a sense. And so because we have this bigger platform than our ancestors had before, it's kind of like, okay, now if we don't do something about it, what are our kids going to go through? What are our generation after us is going to go through? So it's
And
kind of like we're
I think social media is a major key because it's not only spreading awareness about what happened with George Floyd, but it's also showing non-people of color exactly what's going on in the forefront. Because had we not had social media, that video would have never went viral, and maybe people in Minnesota would have made noise. But what about New York City? What about Europe? Europe is getting involved, and I feel like social media, people don't understand that there's more than one impact with social media, because I've personally had debates on Facebook with non-people of color saying, oh, these protests don't make sense, and they're using microaggressions like, why are you upset? You have affirmative action, you have so many things that cater to you, and it opens an outlet for discussion to let non-people of color know, like, yeah, there are advantages, but there are also disadvantages. And you see how they play out, especially in the video where, and a lot of people are talking about Dylan Roof. Dylan Roof went to a church, he participated in the church service, and then he shot people. And he got escorted out of the church and taken to eat McDonald's and taken to jail. Whereas we're hearing that George Floyd gave a fake $20 bill, and he had a knee on his neck for 8 minutes. Do you not see that there's some kind of disconnect with the way we're being treated as people of color? And I think that's a very important discussion that we do have to have, even if we have friends that are non-POC. I have a lot of white friends, and I love them dearly, but I still have this difficult conversation with them. I'm like, I understand, but you also have to look through my eyes and understand what's going on.
Right.
And I think that's very healthy, especially for mental health on both sides.
So how do you guys think that, having to explain things to people who are not of color and having these conversations with them, and how do you think that they're taking it, and how are they absorbing the energy, opposed to how you're trying to connect with them? Because of course they might not understand everything, but it's also they have to come with an open mind to understand, okay, well, this is what's happening. Okay, I want to take a part, I want to understand what you're going through, I want to feel how you feel. Like, how do you think that affects you personally?
honestly, it could become a lot sometimes. Like I do have white friends as well who don't necessarily understand, or like they don't really know. So when you're trying to explain to them, it's like, okay, they're kind of seeing it from their point of view, considering like their answers before were kind of the ones like oppressing us. And so they were raised in a culture where, okay, like you can be friends with them, but you're not them in a sense, like you have privilege. And so, like, for example, my brother, he has a friend where um, he was saying how the whole curfew, when the curfew was happening in New York, how, oh, he was like, well, what's the punishment? And then my brother was saying, oh, you go to jail. And then he was like, oh, I thought you just get like a ticket or something, or like they slap you on the wrist. Whereas for Black people, we already know, like, if a cop pulls us over, your heart is beating fast, like, you think you're going to jail, or even worse, you might die. Whereas for him, he thought like he was just going to pay a ticket. And so trying to explain to them, it's like, for me, I feel like they understand, but they don't get it in a sense, because it's like, okay, they know that, okay, yeah, we see people dying on video, but they don't necessarily feel how we feel, because it's like, okay, you can go to a cop, or a cop pulls you over and you feel fine because you think at the end of the day you get to go home. Whereas for Black people, it's like, okay, there's a low chance that you might go home, or there's a high chance that you might die just by the color of your skin. So it's like, as much as you're trying to explain to them, is, for me, I feel like they'll never fully like understand, but more so, I feel like it's better for them to know what we're going through, so that, you know, when we're going to protest and when we're telling legislation to change, I feel like with them behind us, it makes a bigger difference as opposed to just us going to protest. So.
And sometimes you got to explain to your non-POC friends that right there, that example is privilege. I don't have the privilege of walking in the street covered with police officers and feel like, oh yeah, I could do whatever. They're just going to fine me $50, $500. I got it. I don't have that privilege. I was in an Uber not too long ago, in the middle of COVID, and my Uber driver had his mask on his chin, not on his mouth. And when we stopped at a stoplight, a cop knocked the window and just wanted to tell the driver, hey, put your mask on. You have a passenger in the car. But I already started my camera. I was freaking out. I didn't know what was going to happen. She turned around, she looked at me, she said, have a good day. But the fact that I had to sit there as a passenger in the back of the car going, I didn't do anything, and I'm still freaking out.
Right.
A lot of people don't have the privilege to not feel that way. And that's the number one thing I mentioned to them when they talk about privilege. They'll talk about the NAACP helps you do this, affirmative action helps you do that, welfare, and all that stuff. I'm like, that's all good and fine, but I don't have peace of mind. And that's something that you can have all the time without fail. Peace of mind is something that's really important. Like, it's mentally draining to sit as a passenger in an Uber when a cop stops you. Mentally and physically draining.
Right.
Yeah, I can definitely agree. I can say for me, it's been challenging working at a law firm and being the only person of color at that law firm. And then no type of conversation was had at all. There's been no address to this whole like situation that's been going on at all. And then they've been proceeding business as normal, as regular, or as normal, whatever. I just think that makes me even more uncomfortable. That my first form of discomfort is, one, being the token Black girl. Second, there's no type of discussion to make me feel like, you know, me being in this place of work is valuable. And especially in light of everything that's going on, all these other companies are making statements, this and that. And then the third thing is, you are a law firm. You guys are lawyers. Like, take a stance, say something. So that it's been very challenging going to work and just not hearing anything from them at all. It makes it seem like they don't care. And it's just like, you know, reiterating that we do live in like such a racist society. They just are comfortable in their privilege. They don't like have any regard for other people. That may not be the truth, but their silence is like doing that much harm on me and on the community of color.
Yeah, and to go back to both of you guys' points, like, even when you talk to, you know, non-POCs, it's like their response to everything that we talk about is like, oh, well, you have this, you have the NAACP, or well, all lives matter. But it's like, okay, understandable that every life matters, but it's like,
but right now ours is the one being
right. It's like you notice, like, you say all lives matter, but then you don't notice, like, every month you see a video of a Black man dying by a white police officer. It's like, are you not getting why we say, like, you can't say all lives matter if our lives are being endangered every day.
Crazy. It's crazy how you go on social media and people have to make so many analogies, like, oh, this house is on fire, I need help. Well, all houses matter, but yours is not on fire. Or, oh, we're doing the walk for breast cancer. Well, all cancers matter. Well, this is the one we're talking about right now. There's so many analogies, and I'm like, people still don't get it, and it drives me nuts.
So going back to well, when we were talking about social media, how do you think that it has a positive impact but also a negative impact on spreading awareness as well about this movement?
Um, I think it's positive in the fact that it enlightens a lot of people to understand what we're going through. Um,
Wow, what happened to my thing?
oh, my bad. Well, yeah, I think it's a positive in the fact that it spreads awareness fast so that a lot of people can see what we're going through or understand what is going on in terms of the protest and the rioting and the, getting the message across. However, in a negative,
Wait. Also, talk about the news. I'm sorry, I meant to put that in my question. About the news, how the news is fake, like only showing parts and clips of what's going on and not the whole truth. That's another thing.
Yeah, so I was gonna say the negative is, the news being, very not stagnant, but more like they get to control what's being portrayed. And so a lot of people, or the older generation who doesn't have social media, who's not on Facebook or Instagram, and they depend on, watching TV, they get misguided by what is going on. And also, even those that's on social media, some of them are using, like, the protesting or the Black Lives Matter as, personal gain. Like, you see some people go to protests with their cameras just to take a picture and put on Instagram, like, oh yeah, I stand for it. But it's like, you don't actually understand what's going on here. You're just here to, show that, you care. But in actuality, it's like you're doing it for show. And people, on social media get so blinded by likes and comments that, they do it, but at the end of the day, they put like one post and then they go back to their regular lives. So it's like, in the end, I don't want to say it makes us look bad, but it makes, those people look like the movement doesn't really matter. We're just doing it because it's popular right now, in a sense.
I think, yeah, I think that having a variety of intake is very much so necessary. For example, you see Fox News is a conservative news station, whereas like ABC is more liberal. I think it's important to like switch up the news stations that you watch, because you'll see how like they frame stories, like for some of them the headlines will be like, okay, black man dies after he put a forged check, and another one you'll put we'll say, oh, black man was murdered. So I think it's definitely important just to do your own research, watch what they're like spewing out, and yeah, let's come to your own opinion. In terms of social media, I was actually having an argument with my my real dad, because he's like, oh, he's a cop, so this is why I'm always getting into arguments with him. He's like, oh, don't listen to social media, don't do that, because everything you see on social media is not true, this or that. But I'm just like, it's firsthand accounts of what's going on. If people are posting from their own account, what makes you say that it's not real? It's not real. So what I've also been doing, in case you guys want to listen in, he told me about this app that allows you to listen to police broadcasts on the radio. So now I've also like been trying to do that as well, like incorporate different types of like intake, so I could see like, from different perspectives what's going on. Mm-hmm. The app is called Broadcast, I think. So check it out.
You said Broadcast?
And one thing I'm careful about is propaganda. So I was in, I want to say it was AP English and another class outside of high school. I forgot the name of the class. But what the professor and the teacher did is show us different documentaries and told us to take a stance, and then showed us an opposing documentary or something that contradicts what is depicted in the documentary. Like, for example, she showed us Super Size Me. And we watched Super Size Me, and if you don't know what Super Size Me about, it's about a guy who, for I think a month, just ate McDonald's every day for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And he wasn't allowed. If they offered to supersize his meal, he wasn't allowed to say no. He just okay, and he ate whatever he was given. And he was showing that there's no health benefits in McDonald's. It makes you very sick. He was gaining weight. He was feeling lethargic. And after we watched that, me and my friends were like, we're never eating McDonald's again. But we had read papers that with journalists who actually researched what he was doing, saying like, in reality, who's eating McDonald's for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? Who's supersizing all their meals? So you got to think like, did he do that to show you the disadvantages of McDonald's, or was he just, did he have a personal agenda against McDonald's? Because seriously, I'll eat McDonald's once a month and I won't die. I won't be obese. I won't get deathly ill. But I know that McDonald's is not something that I'm going to be eating every day, all day. So with the news, how we consume the news, we got to consume with a critical lens. Like, okay, you have Fox News. Fox is known to support Donald Trump. If we don't agree with Donald Trump's views, how can we agree with Fox News? We have CNN, then we have other news outlets that are mainly like editorials, and you have to understand that editorials are by people who have an opinion and want to relay that opinion based on what's going on outside. So you always have to remember, everything is not 100% fact. There's always going to be a sprinkle of opinion on it, and you have to decide which side you want to take seriously.
I agree. I definitely could say that like CNN is a favorite of mine because they have so much expert like interviews on CNN. So that's why I'm like, okay, that one might be like a little more go-to for people who want more information. Oh, by the way, the app is called Broadcastify, not Broadcast.
You guys just paused. What's going on?
Nah, I'm sorry. Like, I'm like, why is my Wi-Fi walling like this?
That was funny.
Okay, I'm sorry, but yeah, I was just trying to make it was walling. Before we talk about like mental health, like personally and like as a whole, like without this, like, do you guys have anything else that you want to share about the movement before?
Right now.
No? Okay. So, yes.
Everybody is attending these protests, especially the ones during the day. They are peaceful. Don't believe what you see on the media.
Yeah.
If you have something to say, if you have a way to organize your own. Yes.
And I also want to encourage you guys as young people, if you do go to a protest and you don't post it on social media, it doesn't mean it didn't happen. You don't have to share it to prove that you went. You went, you know you went. That's all that matters. Because I'm seeing a lot of, oh, you saying a lot of stuff, but where was you at? I don't see no pictures of the protest. Because I was busy protesting. If I'm busy protesting, when am I going to stop to take a picture? Relax. You know? So just keep that in mind.
I agree. I definitely agree. Because a lot of people is like, oh, you know, you're not saying anything, da da da. But it's like, how do you know that I'm not outside already? How do you know I'm not, you know, incorporating doing other things to spread the word? Or, you know, it's so many things you can do than just post a picture. So I feel like, you know, social media also, like Shamar said, like it puts a like. But okay. So when we talked about mental health in the and I forgot what season it was, but we spoke to actual advocate and he shared with us his story. So I want to know what you guys' stories in terms of your mental health. Like, are you guys in a position where you are aware that when you guys are low or you guys are high? Is it like a stable? Is it something where you encourage people to talk out loud if you feel that they're, you know, going through something, to check up on people? Like, how do you feel about this as a whole?
So I have a lot of personal history with mental health. First of all, I'm a psych major, so all I deal with is the brain and personalities and emotions. I'm in no way an expert. Anything I say is purely based on my opinion, my experience. One thing I can say directly in regards to the Black community, I wouldn't say it's a major issue now, but I know back when I was younger, it was a whole, you're not depressed, it's in your head, get over it. you don't need a therapist, you don't need therapy because you're just paying somebody to do something that you could resolve on your own. And I've always been the type to say that that's a really problematic statement because you're basically telling me that what I'm feeling is not real and it doesn't matter. Um, I've seen a lot of progress. I've seen people, I'll say personally with my friends, I've seen people openly say, "Hey, I finally got a therapist. I'm excited." Whereas back then it used to be taboo. Like you didn't tell people you went to therapy because people would automatically think you're crazy or you have problems. But now people are openly saying, "Hey, I got a therapist," or "Hey, I need a therapist. Can you recommend somebody?" Sharing what they discussed in therapy. And I feel like that's a very healthy discussion to have. Because I know I wouldn't say I had depression, but I had a period in time in my life where I was experiencing extreme lows. And I felt like I couldn't talk to anybody. Being just in case my mom sees this, I'm sorry, mom, it's not about you. But I feel like when I was younger, I couldn't turn to my mom with certain things because she would automatically turn to, you know, what you're feeling is just mental. You're getting this from your peers. If you just forget about it, you'll be fine. If you just get over it, you'll be fine. If you just have some orange juice, you'll be fine. And it's like, now I don't want to approach you, and I'm holding all these things inside. And I know me, when I hold things inside, especially like what's going on right now with George Floyd, I'll go on Facebook, I'll see something, I'll be enraged, and I'll start typing a paragraph, and then I just delete it because I'm like, this is ridiculous. And I have this mental battle in my head. So to have that battle at my low for days and weeks and months, it was a lot. I feel like, especially as people of color, we should be opening ourselves to more outlets. If you don't feel comfortable with a therapist, I feel like we should reach out to our friends. And as friends, we should open ourselves to our friends because you can have somebody that you feel like you can turn to, but they're not receptive. Um, and they also make problematic statements. People don't think there's problematic statements in mental health, but you could be a friend and I'm telling you, hey, look, I'm depressed, this, that, and the third. Statements like, you'll get over it, you'll be fine, um, you know, let's just go out and party. They're very dismissive. And I
Yeah.
feel like the more dismissive you are to your friends, the more damage you can do. So not only do I try to branch out in different outlets for my mental sanity, I try to check myself when people come to me about issues. I try to be more of a listener because we can be dismissive as well. We think that, oh, we're helping people. And when we cut people off and offer our opinions, that's also problematic because maybe they don't want my opinion. Maybe they just want to let me
Right.
know what's going on. I try to wait till they say, can you help me? Or what do you think, to offer my opinion? If they don't ask those questions, and I think that's one thing that is very important with mental health, to have somebody, whether it's a therapist or a family member or a friend, to just listen, because listening can do a whole lot for your spirit, to have somebody you know who's going to listen to you.
I agree.
Thank you for sharing.
You
What was,
guys want to?
what was your question? I'm sorry.
Oh, you want me to repeat the question?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So basically, I said I was talking about how, like, last time when we did this episode, we had an advocate and he talked about like his experience in terms of mental health. So I was like, how is your mental health? Like, how do you deal with it when you're low, when you're high? You know, if you're stable, if you're not stable, like, how do you cope with it? How do you talk to people? Do you, like, what do you do?
Oh, okay. I'm also not an expert in any way either. I just want to put the disclaimer out there. I don't have no type of psychology, nothing. I'm in the political field. But for me, I'm in therapy, let's say that for one. I've been in therapy for like steadily for a year now. Um, and I was in therapy when I was like younger, like for about a couple of months. Like I think I was in high school, like a couple of months. So that's just one way that I deal with my mental health. I find that to be helpful for me because like for me, I've like tried to like communicate certain things with my friends, and I just felt that my certain friends, like I didn't want to be a burden on my friends, one, and certain friends that I was around at the time weren't capable of like dealing with what I was like, of talking to me and like giving me the support that I wanted to. Not saying they weren't capable. I'm sorry. I don't mean that in any like harm to anybody who ever watched this. But yeah. So for me, like I'll just say I have like really bad anxiety. And when I was younger, I did not realize it. But as I'm like starting to get older, like and I see more resources out there, more like things that explain what this is, like why you feel this way, like and then like now that I'm like seeking help from a professional, I can put a name to everything that I've been feeling. So another way that I cope with that is by meditating. I started to do that more frequently, and to anybody that knocks it or think it's like some weird hippie type stuff, it's not. It's really good.
Meditation is the bomb, you know.
I love it. Oh my gosh. Also yoga really helps. There's also like a lot of support groups like Therapy for Black Girls. It's a podcast and they have an Instagram page. I follow them. I always read their like posts about like how to set boundaries. So now I feel like I'm able to like grow into the person that I want to be. Like I'm able to adequately heal and adequately communicate to people how I'm feeling. I'm still like learning and growing. I'm all over the place right now, but I'm like confident that with all the resources I have right now, I'm, able to flourish in the future.
Mm-hmm. And there are so many outlets for therapy now. There's like 50 million apps. You can do phone therapy over the phone. You can still do in-person therapy. Then you mentioned meditation. A lot of people think meditation is anti-religious, and it has nothing to do with that. It's more about focus and isolating yourself so you can actually have an open place of mind to understand what you're going through. I have a lot of meditation apps, or you don't even need an app. You can go on YouTube and type in guided meditation. So I feel like with mental health, we have made amazing strides. And it's way more accessible now to us than it was before. And I'm just happy that it's no longer a taboo because it's something that we really need. A lot of people think mental health is not something to take seriously, but mental health can actually hurt your health overall. You can have people who are suffering from depression, and that's they're dealing with chemical imbalances that can, and people don't understand that hormones are involved with your mental health, and when hormones are out of whack, they will destroy your body. Like you will be tired, you will start not eating, you'll start overeating, you'll have constant headaches and migraines. So it's all connected to mental health. I just need people to understand that.
Thank you. I'm glad you said that because I actually have lost a lot of weight, and it's attributing to I can attribute it to my mental health. Like when people look at me like, oh my gosh, you got a slipper, congrats. No, not congrats, because I didn't.
Yeah. Like weight, like I feel like especially with females, like we like weight is something that is like we feel stable with that. Like it has to be like a constant thing for us. Like we don't want to be, if we lose weight it's because we want to, if we regain weight it's because we wanted to, or we we're trying to like lose weight. It's for us. Like it's not for and people think that like we shouldn't be comfortable like in our own bodies, and we should, because that's how we feel we should be. And people think that, and that takes a toll on us if people be like, oh you're overweight, or you need to lose a couple. Like why if I'm perfectly fine and I love myself the way I am, I should feel and be the way and the size that I want to be, regardless of if it's a little bigger than you or a little smaller than you. Like I should be comfortable in my own skin regardless of how big I am or how small I am. And that's something like even with men, but I feel like it's more so with women, but men too. Like they want to be like this fit person because this girl is like, oh, I like guys that got muscles, and it's like, why should I like you just because you have muscles? Like I should like you because I like you.
Exactly. And I hate when preferences come into play. Like if I prefer, like me personally, I prefer men with more weight on them. And people look at me like I'm crazy, like, oh, so you like fat guys? Fat guys are unhealthy. I'm like, mind your business. I didn't ask you. I didn't.
it's like it's okay to like who you like. It's perfectly normal. Like people have these like it's okay to have standards. Like I totally understand that. But it's like you're never gonna know who you're attracted to if you don't like open up to, new possibilities. And that's another thing that like strains us mentally because we're like, okay, well we have to have this person, that person, the next person because we need to look good and we need to have this, this presence. And it's like, no, it shouldn't. It should just be I feel comfortable and I love this person for them. Like that's just what it should be.
Mm-hmm.
Shamar, are you gonna share something? Because I was gonna share. I
Yeah,
was actually
sorry,
gonna share.
Shamar, you took over.
No, it's okay. I'd say my mental health right now is pretty okay. Like it's stable. Um, I would say the only time I really had a low was kind of like in college. And my sister could attest to this. Like my freshman year of college, I was like kind of out of it. Like after graduating high school, I was like kind of questioning if I should go to college or not. But like my sister knows, I have a mother who
Oh,
college is
that's
like
not a choice.
that's not a choice. Yeah, like you have to go to college. Like there's no ifs ands or buts. So after my sister, it was kind of like my mom. My mom kind of puts me in this like favorite child barrier where it's like
You're the favorite child. Shamar's the favorite child, if anybody knows.
yeah. So
Like she
like
loves
if
all of us, but Shamar
yeah
can do no wrong ever.
yeah, and I've done a lot of wrong, but I would say freshman year was kind of like the low point because I already like was kind of questioning college, but since I was forced into it, like I had no choice. And then on top of that, I would say like early on, like the very first semester, my father passed away, and that was like the first time that I had to deal with somebody in my family dying. Like I've never, throughout my whole family, like everybody's like pretty healthy, alive. Like there's been a little scares here and there, but like everybody's been there. So it's like dealing with a parent dying on me was like kind of hard. And then on top of that, like I have a brother, a younger brother, well, my sister too, who he was going through mental health issues. So that took a toll on me as well because it was like, okay, now I have to deal with losing my dad, not wanting to be in college, and my brother going through things when I'm like the person right next to him. Like I've lived with him my whole life, so it's like that moment. Like there was a time where I was coming home from school, and I literally was walking and just started crying out of nowhere. And like I went to my sister because at that point I was telling I wanted to take a semester off because I felt like this was too much on my head. But like I knew telling my mom that like she's not gonna want to hear it. Like she for her it's like mental health. Like she knows mental health, but it's like because she grew up in a culture where like mental health was never really talked about. All it was like, oh, drink this, or like let me pray for you and then things will get better. So it was like I knew that she cared or like she wanted us to be fine, but like she just didn't have the resources or she didn't fully understand. So at that moment, like I didn't really have anybody to turn to except for my sister. And like, she was the one that advised me, like, yo, take a semester off if you need it. Like we won't tell mom because we know like the moment I tell my mom something, it's like it blows up and she just yells and she just doesn't understand. And so I felt like me taking that semester off, like it it was good and bad. Like it was good because I felt like I was free. I felt like I could get away from the stress. I could finally mourn my father's death. But to me, it was also bad because once I went back, like in my head, I kept thinking, oh my God, like all my friends are graduating in 4 years and I'm still here. Like it was so draining because like you see your friends, it's like, yo, you're happy for them. Like when Gabby graduated, when my friend Star graduated, Onandi, Kiera, like when everybody graduated, it was just like, I'm happy for them. But at the same time, like I feel like this mental barrier because on one point, like ever since I was a kid, like I was always graduating with my class. But then once I get to college, it's like, oh snap, I feel like I'm left back. And even in high school, like you see like the kids that get left back or they have to stay an extra year or extra semester, like they always get bullied, they always get clowned on, nobody wants to be friends with them because like they're considered retarded or dumb, when in fact it's like you don't know what they're going through. They might be having family issues, they might be in financial problems. So for me it was like going into my 5th year of college, it was just like it was hard because it was like, you know, you see all your friends already out, they're already going to graduate school, they're already doing everything into their careers. Whereas for me, it was like, okay, I'm still here. Like, even though I know why I took this semester off, it was for a personal problem. But at the same time, it was kind of low to see my friends, you know, I don't want to say doing better than me because, you know, everybody has their own race. But for me, for a while, I couldn't realize that, you know, I have my own race to go through. And so, it took a while. Like, there was counseling in my school, thankfully. I was able to like talk to my counselors, talk to people, my advisors, some of my professors who like got me through college. Like, there's one professor who like literally was there since freshman year. Like, he didn't know it, but like I was going through problems. Like, I was going through my father's death, you know, my brother's mental problems. There were times where I didn't want to even be home because, you know, my home is not, you know, like you live, there's certain places where you live, but it's like it don't feel like home.
Right.
So he didn't know it, but like I used to stay in his class like every day, just do my homework and just like chill there because he was like that safe barrier for me where like I didn't have to deal with the world, or like even if I had to deal with my problems, it's like I felt comfortable to talk to him because, you know, he didn't know it, but he was like kind of lifting me up in a sense. And so um I will say mental health is like a very big issue. It's a very serious thing that, you know, people should be talking about, and I'm glad that we are talking about it more. Like, it's more of a you know, face now than it was back then. Um,
Yeah.
and yeah, and to my mom, she probably gonna watch it. She may or may not, but mom, it has nothing to do with you. Like, I still love you. Like,
I
I
mean, I will
understand.
say, piggybacking off of what you're saying, mom has gotten much better
Yeah.
in terms of acknowledging mental health, encouraging us to see therapists, you
Yeah,
know,
that's really
encouraging us
good.
to find outlets. And I'm extremely proud of her because, not to put personal business out there, but our younger brother went through it. He went
Yeah.
through it when their father died. And I think having that moment where my mom, because our younger brother we would say he's the strongest out of the three of us. And to see him going through it, I think it really hit my mom like, wow, something is wrong and
Right.
I need to figure out what it is because he's usually out of the three of us the most level-headed, the rock, the stable one. So sometimes it does unfortunately take that kind of experience for people to open their eyes and see, you know, maybe it's not just you know, kids being kids, a phase. It's actually something that does need to be addressed. And also, in especially in the West Indian community, we have these these expectations that we feel like we have to fulfill. And I feel like that also plays in our mental health because I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm 29. I don't have my bachelor's degree. I can say now after going to therapy, I found out that I do have issues with attention and focus. And I've been in schools where they're very hands-on. My high school is very hands-on. My elementary school is very hands-on. So I'm a hands-on learner. So I don't learn well in environments when somebody's talking in my ear. But it took me, what, 8 years of college to realize that, where I was going from school to school. I was doing online classes. I was doing in-school classes, trying to figure out what's wrong with me, you know? And I automatically thought, you know, maybe I'm not as smart as people used to say. Maybe I do have a mental disorder. Come to find out, it's just, you know, I have inability with focusing, and I'm working on that. And I also had the same issue that Shamar had. I seen all my friends graduate from hell. Half my friends have masters. Some of them have their PhD, and I'm like, I don't even have my bachelor's yet. And I was feeling really low. I have friends with kids. I have friends who are married. I have friends who look like they have their whole life together. And I started to think maybe they're smarter than me. Um, and I was at my low. And just like Shamar said, Shamar had his low, and I had to deal with that. My brother Elijah had his low, and I had to deal with that too. Then I was dating somebody who's going through his lows, and my mom was going through her lows, and I felt like I had to be there for everybody, you know?
Yeah.
And that's a lot, especially for somebody who's really young. So you can ask Shamar, when I was 18, I had 3 jobs and I was going to school full time. I was never home because I'm the type of person where I'm going when I'm going through something like that, I don't like sitting still because I start thinking about all the problems and then it just becomes too much for me. So I was going from Century 21, clocking out and going to Coney Island and then clocking out, going home, taking a shower and change, go to LIU to work in the office, and just did that for a good year and a half. So I feel like one big factor of your mental health is to always remember that you're you and you're not anybody else. You're going through your life the way you can, the way you see fit, the way you're capable of. I'm gonna get my bachelor's when I can, when I deal with the fact that I have mild ADD, you know?
Mm-hmm.
It's not something that has to be done on a schedule. If you have to take 5, 6 years, Shamar took what, 5 years, and he's going to law school. I'm absolutely proud of him. But there was a point in time where I'm like, dang, Shamar's 6 years younger than me, and he got his degree first, or he's getting his degree first. And I had to tell myself, that's not the mentality that you have to have. You have to say, look, I've seen what he's been through. I've seen how he worked. I see his commitment and his work style and how he organizes himself, and it works for him. Sometimes I actually picked up certain things off of him. Like, I don't know if you can see, I have the same board he has, because I'm like, if it worked for him, it's probably going to work for me, and it actually does. So I feel like growing up is more of a personal experience to get to know how you function and what works for you, rather than, okay, in 4 years you have to do high school, then 4 years you have to do college, then 2 years you have to do your master's. People look at numbers versus, okay, in 4 years, what am I capable of doing? How do I learn? How do I have to break down this assignment so I can finish it on time? What outlets do I have to use to get the information for this assignment? And professors play I have a professor named Michael Partis. He was my Black political thought professor in my freshman year of college. And when I say that man saw me in the back of the classroom with my hood on, not engaging at all, when class was done, he pulled me to the side. He's like, "That's good. Raise your hand. You know, you don't have to be right. Raise your hand." The next time I didn't raise my hand, he was like, "What do you think, Tusha? Give me your opinion on what we're talking about." One day he walked me from the school to the train station and said, "What's going on? How are you doing? How do you feel?" And I don't think professors know that they do have a monumental part that they play. They're not just educators. Like, you are teaching kids and in a transition in their life where they don't know who they are. We went and learned math, science, history, and English. Now we're going to Black political thought, gender studies, personality discussions, quantum physics. Like, we don't know any of this stuff. We know the basics, but if we don't even know this, and then we're trying to get to know, well, this whole time there was these other things. I wasn't just going to be a doctor, a lawyer, or a vet. I could be a physicist. I thought psychology was just, okay, I'm going to sit in an office and somebody's going to lay down and tell me about their lives. Come to find out, there's psychologists who make furniture so people can work better at work. I was like, I didn't even know that was an option. So now I'm not only trying to figure myself out, I'm like, do I really want to do what I said I wanted to do in grade school? And professors have a key position in that transition when you're trying to find yourself to be an influence, you know? And they can also be part of the mental health issue. I had professors who just gave us assignments, and then we did the assignments and, oh, you got this wrong, and just X'd out everything in the paper. And for months, they're not telling you why it's wrong, and then you get a progress report and you see you're failing, and you're like, damn, okay, I suck. Whereas I had a professor in African studies. Every week he gave us a little slip of paper that showed us our progress and said, you know, talk to me. What is your issue? He gave us things on YouTube. He taught us about, I forgot the name of the program, but it's like an animated study guide. And it actually helped us out. And I passed that flying colors only because he took the time. So long.
No, we're listening. I'm very intrigued.
So just to summarize everything I'm saying, adults have a very important role in mental health. It's not just us, it's not our friends, it's not therapists, it's adults that directly are involved with our lives. No matter what they do, you are shaping the kids around you, you are shaping the young adults around you, and you need to pay attention. And I'm done.
No, I agree. I could definitely piggyback off of that. That was I was actually a lot of stuff that I was going to talk about. So one thing that like with me, like I didn't grow up in like a household where like my parent, like, well, I live with my mom, like my mom, I lived with my two siblings, but I was just with my mom. But she wasn't the type of parent who was like, okay, you have to do this, you have to do that. She would be like, okay, well, if this is what you want to do, okay, how can we make this happen? You know, it was always like my same thing with my family. Like, it's not, we wasn't pushed in a situation where, okay, we have to be a doctor, we have to be a lawyer, we have to be this, we have to be that. You know, it was like I always wanted to be a writer, and it's like that's what I'm being pushed to do. Like, this is what I want to do. How are you gonna get there? I would talk to her. I would tell her how I feel, and it's not. There's like a lot of parents who like you can't really sit down and have a conversation. And it's like I'm very lucky to actually have like my mom to be like, okay, well, you know, if this is how you feel, how are you gonna get through it? Like, what are you gonna do to get there? Da 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 da. And it's like I'm very grateful for that. But because I have that mentality, I push that same mentality on my friends, on my partner, like anybody that I talk to, because it's just like we should want to know who we are to better ourselves. We have to understand, you know, what our flaws are, what makes us tick, what makes us angry. And if we understand ourselves better, then we could get there. And if we could communicate to somebody, okay, well, I'm upset because blah 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 blah. And some people, you know, they don't listen to us. And you know, it's hard because they might not know what it is we're feeling. So they might not know what to say. So, but if they don't know what to say, it's easier to ask a question. Like I do this with Gabby a lot. I'd be like, okay, so how do you feel about that? What is it that you know?
Sure.
What is it that you know is bothering you? Why is it bothering you? What is it that can change to make you, you know, like to feel better? Like how can you move along to make the situation either kind of go in your favor, or you both could have like an equal share in it? Like it's so many things you could do, and like I try to do that because it's just like if I feel like maybe you would understand it that way, then maybe you can change, and this could be the way that you go about it as well. Just like how you guys have the board. Me, you know me. If you see my calendars be like full. Like I can't have to write everything down because it's like if I know what's happening, then I can be like, okay, I can move accordingly. But something that also that I personally encourage people to do is to write, because a lot of the times you don't have somebody to talk to, which is not everybody. So if you write, even if it's like a little short sentence, like you might feel better. Like it's so many things that you could do that like you could read a post, like Gabby said, like you could read a post and you could feel great after you read that post. Like sometimes I be reading stuff like, oh wow, like I didn't know that, like, you know, people thought the same way. And that's what I try to do, especially with like the pieces that I'm writing out on my website. Like I'm trying to encourage people to see that if you understand things that you read and you want to learn more about it, like maybe you'll be like, oh wow, like I can get into this, or this resonates with me, and so forth and so forth. But in terms of like how that, like I said, how that helps with my mental health is like if I could understand how I feel in my head, I could probably explain it to somebody else better. Or if they feel the same way, I could be like, okay, well, I went through it this way. How are you feeling about it now? Like, do you feel the same way? Did you go through something similar? How can, you know, we change how you feel? Like, I'm very, like, I like to be hands-on. Like, I like to be, okay, well, if I could talk to you, if I could listen to you, maybe we could work it out. And I'm like that. Sometimes I like to be secluded, which is a bad thing sometimes, but it's like it helps me to figure out what it is to move forward with myself. And I like to write. So if I write it down, I can move forward, I could be great. But I'm really bad with emotions. So I don't know how that plays a part in too many things. Like I'm very like to myself. Like, nah, for real. Gabby could really, both of you know, Shamar and Gabby could really attest to that. Like I'm so like I understand how you feel, but it's like I need to know more. Like if I don't know more, I can't help you. Like I don't know how I'm gonna, you know, like I can't relate if you don't tell me. Like if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
You guys have anything else to say?
I think I said everything for everybody. So.
Nice.
No, you did. You touched on like a lot of things that like was good to touch on. Cause
Yeah,
it's crazy because
no, go ahead.
oh, I was like, because it's fun. I just started reading like, well, she's a sexologist, but you know it falls under like psychology. So it's like I've been like watching a lot of her stuff, and I just recently read her book and I did an article about it, and I was like, wow, like I didn't know like this was a part of like this, like I could do this. Like I'm like it's interesting because if you don't know the things about yourself, I keep saying, like you're not gonna understand how to talk to somebody else if they want to really open up to you. So it's like if you know the little bit of things, even if it's one little thing, like you said, the person like can make furniture for the people. Like I've never knew that. Like that you make.
I'm telling you, my first year at SUNY Old Westbury, I had a professor. I forgot her name, but she was asking us, "What do you think psychology is?" And I was like, psychology is when you basically when you're minding people's business to try to help them find a solution. And she's like, "What if I told you there was a psychologist that makes the mouse pad that you have on the computer with the little gel that was designed by a psychologist?" I'm like, "How?" She's like, "Well, a company complained that people were having wrist issues and it was lowering productivity. They didn't even say that it was wrist issues. They said it was lowering productivity. The psychologist came and asked everybody, what's the issue? They were like, yeah, we have wrist pain. We're using this mouse all day. We have problems." And the psychology came up with the solution that, okay, if wrist pain is directly related to how they're performing at work, we need a better support for their wrist. And they designed the mouse pad, the jump pad. I'm like, that was a psychologist? They're like, yeah. I'm like, wow. So there's more than one type of psychologist. They're like, yeah, there's the psychologists that you were talking about, sexologists that talk about how mental performance plays a lot into sexual relationships. There's the marriage counselors that only deal with marriage issues. There are the substance abuse counselors. I didn't even realize that they were counselors and that falls under psychology. And she opened my eyes. I'm like, I was really ignorant when it came to psychology. But that's no fault of my own. I wasn't exposed to it. But that plays along with what I was saying that as young adults, we have to experience life not to go by a schedule, but to discover new things and open us
Right.
to new possibilities. Because I went from I wanted to be a journalist to an architect. I went to a school for architecture to a psychologist to a forensic scientist. But that's because as I went along in my life, I was exposed to these different things.
One thing that like I did, my thing is I took 2 years off. I took a year off after high school, but that was like an unplanned thing. I was supposed to go to a different school, but yeah, whatever. And then I took a one off recently. I'm actually going back this summer, and I encourage it. Like I personally encourage it because like again, like I have my associates, but it's just like, and I did that within the 2 years when I went back. But it's like I took this year because it's like when you have, I do too many things. So it's like if you have too many things going on in your life, you can learn how to balance it out. But once something starts to overpower everything else, it starts to, stress you out. And it's like I felt like that was something that I needed to do. Like it was like, all right, let me get my head straight. Let me understand what's going on with me. Let me figure out what's going on. Let me just work. Let me just have one thing to do. And maybe I will get back to the place that I was. And that's exactly what's happening. Like I'm perfectly, like I'm in a stable, like I'm okay. I'm good. I'm going back. I'm gonna be done, and I'm gonna do my masters, and I'm gonna be have a great. But it's like everybody's path is different, and I definitely agree that like we should understand that because there's people out here who take care of themselves, like don't have any parents, they pay for all their stuff, and it's like they took probably 6-7 years to finish a bachelor's degree, and that's perfectly fine because maybe they had a kid, maybe something else happened in the mix of it. Like it's so many different things, but that shouldn't stop them from wanting to be the person that they want to be, and I feel like that's something that is drilled into our heads and our mindsets that okay, like this has to be done in this amount of time, and in order to do that you need to do this, that, and the third. But it's like there's other things that happen. Like reality is gonna hit us. Life is gonna punch us in the face one day and we wouldn't even know that it's doing it.
I could definitely agree.
Exactly.
Yeah, I could definitely agree with for me, like I'm like we're all talking about comparing ourselves. Like one thing that I'm battling right now is like my decision to like go to law school after I've obtained my master's. And I'm just like seeing like there's so many more like people wanting to pursue their law degree, so many more persons of color like becoming lawyers. And I'm just like, okay, well, if I don't go to law school, am I gonna regret it in the future?
Yes.
Am I gonna like
I'm sorry. Give me a second, guys. I'm sorry.
I'll wait. Or I keep going.
Go ahead.
What happened?
Yeah, so I'm just like thinking like,
Yes. No. Because they're for veggies. It's a veggie wash, Mom. It's a veggie wash. Veggie wash.
You can only wash vegetables in it, not fruit.
I don't know. I haven't washed fruit. I only do veggie wash. You have to wash it off.
Okay.
Yes,
Oh my gosh,
because my roommate has a veggie wash, and I always thought it was Lysol. And then it was like, no, look at the bottle.
Wait, you guys were laughing at my veggie wash?
yeah.
Oh, Lord.
When I was working at Pret, so like we had like this veggie wash, and like we have to wash the vegetables before we like cut it and put it in the food and stuff. So like, but it's just like the one that I have is different. Like it's a spray. It's the same brand, but like it's a spray, and the other one is like more foamy. So like my mom was like, I thought something happened. She's it's okay. I'm back.
You make the veggie wash?
Huh?
Yeah. It's
Did
I
you
have
make it?
have a veggie wash in the house. It looks like, if you look at it from far away, it looks like house cleaner. But when you look at the bottle, it says veggie wash. The first time I ever saw that was last year when I moved in with my roommate. He was like, "Yeah, it's a veggie wash. You don't know about that?" I'm like, "No, I just use water."
It's not like it's like it like because you know how like they grow the products in dirt and stuff. So like it's just cleaning off the veggies. Like it just takes off more of the dirt than.
Does it take off fruit too? Because like y'all saw that thing on TikTok where the bugs be coming.
I'm so dead.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. Oh my god.
But that's what she was talking about just now. I was just like, this lady. I'm like, no, it's a veggie wash. I never used it with fruit, so I wouldn't know. Like, we don't have fruit at that job. Like, it was veggies.
Once I saw those bugs coming out the strawberries, I was like, no.
I don't know what bugs it is that y'all getting in y'all fruit because.
No. I don't eat those strawberries no more. So I personally, it didn't happen to me, but when I saw the video, I was like,
But that's what I'm saying. Where's these bugs coming from? Because I
mean, if you think about it, it makes sense because you got fruits and vegetables that grow underground, and the bugs are like penetrating the skin and getting there. It happens. It's nature.
it's hiding underneath it.
we eating bugs then, I guess. I guess that's what we
The bugs ain't never did nothing to me.
For real, I'm like, I've been eating strawberries for all this time. Like, nothing happened yet. So they be walling. It's all right. What was you saying, Gabby?
Oh, I think I was saying, like this year basically is my deciding year. So like we was talking about like, you know, comparing our journeys. Like that's one thing that I'm constantly fighting with in my head, and like my anxiety does not make it better because anxiety is like you got two people, like 5 different people in your head talking and saying different things at once.
Yeah.
And it's crazy. So like this year is supposed to be my deciding year. Like even though sometimes it makes me like have it together, like I feel like I rush and I jump into things. It's good that you guys like have space everything out and you're able to think. I feel like sometimes like looking at the other side, like I jump into things because like it's a fear of failure. Like like I have to, like, because I graduated in 3 years because I'm like, okay, I have to do this or I'm gonna fail. Like I graduated, like I'm doing my master's now because like I did not want to like have space in between like when I graduated and like me. Oh, okay. So let me just give you context. I took the LSAT twice. I did horrible. I did really horrible. So I'm just like, okay, I had to study again and wait to take the next LSAT. I didn't want to wait. Like I knew I needed to get like some type of higher degree in order, like just me internally.
That was just you personally that you had to do that. I know, I definitely understand that, but you have to understand also when you have these 5 people in your head, you can make those 5 different possibilities. Like with me, for example, like when I told you I'm doing my master's, there's 2 places I could go. I could stay here or I could go out of state. But it's like, what's better for me as a person? Like how, like, especially with my environment, like for example, like my mom, she's like, she has a little bit of health problems right now. So it's like me in my head, like I'm the one that lives with her. My two siblings don't live with her, so it's like I'm the closest one. So it's like, how can I put that into a content where it's like, okay, well, I'm close enough or I'm further away, but somebody else is looking after. You understand? So it's like it's so many different things in your life that it's like it's also like, okay, do you get a different job out there? Do you wait? Do you like transfer the job that you have now? Like all those things is in your head, like, okay, what is going on? But you have to be like, okay, this is possible. This is A, B, C, D, E, F, K, 1, 5, 3, 7, 29. Like you have to have all those plans, and then you'll feel okay because you're like, okay, well, if I don't do this, I can do that.
Yeah,
You
like
always have to jump. Like you don't always have to jump. Like I feel like, okay, you want to jump because that's what you do, but it's like sometimes you could just work, which I feel
Yeah,
like is perfectly fine.
it takes a lot of reflection to do stuff because I understand what she means because I'm like that
Mm-hmm.
will work. If you ask Shamar, I don't think Shamar's ever seen me without a job because I feel like I had at one point I had to have at least two jobs. So in case one of them messed up, I had a backup. And then if I felt like something was going wrong with the job, I'm applying to other jobs and I secure it. So then when the thing goes wrong with the job, I already have another job. I
Right.
haven't since I turned 18, I have not been unemployed. Like I'm always working. But I feel the same way Gabby feels like I need to fill in the gap. I need to be doing something
Right.
because if I'm not doing something, then I'm failing. I'm messing up. And I don't want to do that. And that's something that I had to deal with too. Even with the job I work at right now, it's really demanding. And when I started it, I wanted to have two jobs. I had two jobs at one point in the beginning of this job, but I was like, you know what, relax. If you calm down and just go do this job, you won't need two, and you'll be fine. You're not gonna explode. You're not gonna disappear. You're not gonna be homeless. You're not gonna be, because my mind would go 100 miles an hour. Like if I don't work, then my mom's gonna have to work twice as much because she has three kids that she has to feed. She has two boys, and boys eat a lot. And Shamar's bougie. He got to buy sneakers and all that stuff. And so I'm like, I have to work so she can afford Shamar's sneakers and my education and Elijah's sweatpants. So I had to really sit down and think, okay, it's not your job. You're you.
Right.
yeah, you were able to relax. I envy that. I want to relax. Like my brain just be like,
Even when we are relaxed, like there's still people in our heads, like all the time. I feel like it's not gonna stop, like unless like we really, even when we really get like in a real stable to the side, like what I wrote in my article, I was like, you gotta like push it in the back and lock the key and throw the key in the garbage and just throw it somewhere else because it's just like you're gonna overwhelm yourself, and you have to like learn to just take it easy sometimes. I have to tell myself that too because it's just like you put yourself in the most like horrible situation and you probably feel fine, but it's like you're mentally drained, you're probably tired,
and too many hats at once. We gotta learn that nobody could wear more than one hat at once, or you're gonna look silly.
yes. Like you can't be five people. And I used to do that at work and I'm like, I'm not doing that anymore. Like I can't be five people. I'm only one person. I can only do this so much. I only have 2 hands, 2 feet. Like I can't fly. Can't teleport. Can't do those things. So I have to learn to just be like, take it easy, relax. It's things that we all are learning. It's okay. When we get like 50, maybe we'll understand. Maybe not. Who knows?
Yes, maybe. I'm 29 and I'm still working on it. Still working on it.
You might have 5 kids by then and you still won't know. It's okay. It's okay. It's really okay. It's really, really okay. So, do you guys have anything else that you want to share? No? Maybe not. Shamar, because you didn't talk.
Yeah, nah, like I mean, y'all was saying everything pretty much, so I might kind of just listen at this point.
That's regular Shamar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm
I told
him
him I wasn't gonna talk.
Have an attitude, not to put Shamar on display. But I used to admire him because throughout all of his school career up to what was it? senior year of junior high, Shamar was quiet. He was the hermit. He did not talk. He was really reserved. He like he was just the really quiet, timid one. Like we weren't all loud kids, but out of all three of us, he was the quietest. And then all of a sudden, my mom gets a phone call from school talking about Shamar brought a pillow to school and he pulled it out and he took a nap. And I was like, Shamar?
Yeah.
And I was like, what happened? Shamar was like, yeah, I was over it. Like, I'm not gonna do that. And then ever since then, he's been the class clown. And I'm like,
Yeah.
how did you do that? How did you break out of your shell? Just randomly, just bring a pillow to school and just take a nap. Like, that's really disrespectful. But I'm like, you know what? Sometimes we have to be uncomfortable and we got to put ourselves in positions where we have to be like, yo, screw this. This doesn't work for me. I'm not encouraging children to go to school with pillows, but I'm saying if you're in a position where you feel like this doesn't work for me, this doesn't fit, you got to make yourself uncomfortable to get back comfortable. You know?
Yeah.
Sorry, Shamar. I'm blowing your spot, but
Nah. I would attest to it. Like when I was a kid, I was always the quiet one. I used to bottle everything up. Like there were times where like I would get angry a lot. I like my brother, for example, because we all know like when you have younger siblings, like they get on your nerves. So like I used to just be quiet all the time, and then like when I'm like ready to blow up, like I'll just blow up on him. But up to like I'll say 8th grade, like I mean even after 8th grade, I was still quiet. Like Gabby could attest to it in high school. Like I was always like yeah, I was always in the front, back, like never talked. But I would say like a lot of it was attributed to like being at home, like because I used to live in Brooklyn, but then after everything happened, like my father like kind of disappeared, my mom was going through problems, and then we had to like kind of like jump out of that situation and just move somewhere else. So it was just kind of like, okay, like I'm not talking about it, I don't want to say anything. So I was just quiet. But then I realized like as I was getting older, I was like, okay, if I'm quiet, I know everybody's gonna ask why am I quiet? Like, why are you so quiet? Why are you this? Why are you that? So I was like, okay, forget it. And I used to love to laugh like all the time. And so the whole pillow story was like it was initially for Valentine, but then I kind of got shut down. And so yeah, so I was just like, you know what? Screw it. And then I was like, okay, I'm tired in class. I knew I was gonna get in trouble, but I was like, screw it. I put the pillow out. I went to sleep, and then had everybody laughing. And then from then on, like everybody just started gravitating towards me because I was the class clown. And so I realized I'm like, okay, then this is gonna work. And I felt comfortable. And so like I was still quiet in high school and even college, but once in a while I'll say something funny or like I'll just be a jokester, and then people would laugh. So that's how people kind of remember me, like before high school and even after or during high school. I was like, okay, he's the quiet one, but when he says something, it's funny, or like he jokes a lot. So
yeah. I'm glad you came out of your shell in high school, because like certain people, who it is, like they used to just try to play you. Yeah, I'm just like, okay, like enough is enough. It's not even funny. I'm glad you found who you are. You did not let that person. I don't know if you know who I'm talking about, but anyway.
I don't know. I probably do. Probably don't. At this point, I don't know. I probably do though. I don't know.
I think so. No, I think you know.
I do know.
She always used to bother him. I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like, and at that time, I feel like I should have spoke up more. Like, I should have like said something, because she was also my friend. And
you didn't tell me, because I would have came to the school and I would have turned like, who is my brother?
Nah, it was okay.
Because you liked her. It's because
I had a crush on her for a while. I look back at it now and I'm just like, why do I have a crush on her? But
oh my God.
It's somebody now. It's somebody that I know now.
I don't think you.
Nah, I don't think you know.
I've never met her, so didn't know. Probably not.
Like she never did like any sports or came outside. She should go straight home after school.
Yeah.
Oh, so then maybe I don't know her. But yeah. I don't know. I
Wait,
didn't like
Shamar,
going over there.
Huh?
Shamar, do I know her?
No.
You sure?
I'm sure.
Because that sounds familiar.
Nah, it's not that girl. It's not that one. That's
not the same. I'm thinking it's somebody else, and I'm just like, nah, maybe that's not the same person. It's okay. It's okay. Okay, guys. So, do you guys can say like where to follow you on social media if you want them to follow you and so forth. And then we're gonna have you guys do our outro just so you guys know. So you're just gonna so it's not you don't have to do the whole little thing, but you just have to be like to like and comment and to share, subscribe, and to be like to follow us on Instagram and Twitter. It's TNTK Show. TNTK Show.
I'm sorry.
TNTK Show on
Can
Instagram and Twitter. Instagram and Twitter.
I take a boomerang?
What?
Yeah, you can. A boomerang.
Wait, what she say?
The boomerang. The Instagram boomerang.
Oh, sorry. I was like, what? I told you my bum ass AirPod. I hate these headphones. I need to give them away. They're not annoying. Okay. Ready? So, boom, it's on you guys.
Wait, what do we do? Wait.
Oh, okay. So sorry. Okay. So you're gonna say like your social media if you want them to follow you, like where they can find you at, and then you're just gonna like. Then when you go for it done, you guys are gonna say to follow us on social media. To follow us on social media, it's TNTK Show on Instagram and Twitter, and to like, comment, share, subscribe.
That was a lot.
That was a lot.
The like, share, comment, subscribe.
Can I do one of these? Follow me here.
Yeah, Shamar will put it there. So you can do that, and then
follow my Instagram here. I be seeing it, I'm like, I'm gonna do that right here.
Because we're not gonna for this our little preseason, we're not gonna do our outro. We're gonna have the guests do the outro.
Okay.
So, but you guys don't have to do the thing that we do. So that's why like we was like,
Oh, okay.
Okay, go ahead, Gabby.
Gonna be like,
follow me at GA.BEEEL on Instagram. Wait, no, put that in there, please. Wait,
just say how many E's
That's why I said let's do the whole follow me here.
Because sometimes I forget how many E's is in there, so I'm doing it in my head. Follow me at Gabrielle GA.B3EL on Instagram. Twitter, don't follow me on there because if you find me Gabrielle B, don't follow me. It's for work. But
I'm so sad. I'm so bad.
Oh Lord.
That's hilarious. I don't even remember my Instagram.
See, I had to.
Okay, but Gabby, like that was, I don't even know what that was
like,
about.
the username is taken. I was like, what? You know how like you have to keep putting.
Oh, I found it.
No, cool.
Okay, follow me on Instagram at Mrs. Urkel, MRZURKEL. And I don't have a Twitter, so don't even.
Okay, so it's basically you're gonna be like, make sure to follow the show on Instagram and Twitter. You're gonna say TNTK Show at TNTK Show, and then you're just gonna be like, comment, share. Or no, Shamar, you can just be like, put like, comment, share, subscribe in each of our bubbles. That would be popping.
Oh yeah.
That was
okay. So boom, that's what we're gonna do. So just be like, to follow it. That's it. We figured it out, guys. We figured it out. Okay.
You want to say it, Tusha?
Okay.
You can split it up. Like you could be like, make sure to follow the show page at, and Gabby could be like,
okay. Make sure to follow the show page at TNTK Show on Twitter and Instagram, I think.
Yes.
Cut out that last part.
Thank you guys. This was really fun.
Yeah,
it was. Thank you for the combo.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for coming and being a part of it.
No problem.
So it's gonna be out today at 5, just so you guys know.
Oh, really?
It's at 5. It's gonna be out at 5, yes.
Oh, okay.
If it's a little longer than.
Wait, at 5 today?
Yeah, 5. Yeah, today. Yeah. If it's because we were gonna do it like it was gonna come out next week, but we were like we could still put it out today. So So yes, today at 5 o'clock, we'll send you all the information. It will be on Instagram. But if it's a little bit too long, like I feel it is, like we're gonna put it on YouTube, maybe.
Okay,
Yeah.
no problem.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye guys.
Bye,
Bye.
guys.